You've probably had this experience. You plan something big, you're excited about it, but then nothing happens. And if you're like me, you might think you're just lazy. But here's the truth. There's actually a neurological cycle happening in your brain that's preventing you from pursuing your dreams. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly how it works, and more importantly, how to fix it. It's not laziness. Procrastination researcher Tim Pychyl spent decades studying why people don't do the things they promise themselves to do. And here's what he discovered. Procrastination is not a time management problem. Procrastination is an emotion regulation problem. Here's what that means. When you think about doing something important, like starting a creative project, submitting an application, or doing a workout, your brain does something interesting. It generates a negative emotion. That could be self-doubt, overwhelm, anxiety, or fear that your result won't be good enough. And your brain doesn't like negative emotions. So it escapes. The avoidance loop. You start cleaning your room. You reorganize your desk. You pick up your phone. And suddenly, that negative feeling goes away. You feel relief. And here's the important part. That relief itself is a reward. In psychology, behaviors that get rewarded get repeated. So your brain learns, if I avoid this difficult task, I get that short-term relief. And it starts doing this automatically every single time you face something difficult. This creates something called an avoidance loop. You face a difficult task, it triggers a negative emotion. You avoid the task, you feel relief. Next time you face something difficult, you do it again, and your brain keeps repeating this cycle. The neuroscience. Here's what's actually happening in your brain. When you face a hard task, two systems are competing for control. System 1, the amygdala. This is your brain's alarm system. It detects threats. When a task seems overwhelming or scary, it treats it like a threat. It tells you, don't do this, run, this is dangerous, avoid it. System 2, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. This is the part of your brain that actually makes you act. It takes the fear signal from the amygdala, shuts it down if needed, and pushes you to do what you're supposed to do. When you procrastinate, your amygdala is winning. This is called an amygdala hijack. Your emotional brain overrides your rational brain, and you flee from the task. And here's the dangerous part. Every time you go through this avoidance loop, you physically strengthen the neural pathway for procrastination. You're literally training your brain to procrastinate more. Meanwhile, your discipline circuit weakens, like a muscle you stopped using. Solution. So here's the question. If your brain is training itself to avoid, could you train it to do the opposite? After 20 years of research, Tim Pychyl found the answer, and it's embarrassingly simple. You just have to start. That's it. No need to finish. No need to be perfect. You just have to start for 5 to 10 minutes and not think about the outcome. Here's how to do it. Step 1. Catch and name it. When you notice yourself procrastinating, pause and ask, what emotion am I feeling right now? Overwhelm, anxiety, fear? Just naming that emotion switches you from your emotional mind back to your rational mind. Step 2. Make your tasks stupidly small. Think about the tiniest possible action you can take. Don't think I have to write a whole essay tonight. Think, I'll open Google Docs and write for 10 minutes. Don't think I have to do a 1-hour workout. Think, I'll put on my shoes and go outside. And here's why this works. The actual process of doing the task is almost always much easier than the dread you feel before doing it. The research proof. Tim Pychyl proved this beautifully in a study. He gave 45 students pagers and paged them 8 times a day for 5 days before an academic deadline. When the pager went off, students reported how they felt and what they were doing. The data showed students procrastinated on difficult, unpleasant, or stressful tasks and replaced them with more interesting activities. But here's what's fascinating. When students procrastinated early in the week, they'd justify it. I work better under pressure. I'll feel like it tomorrow. But when the deadline forced them to actually start, not one of them said they were glad they waited. They all said, I wish I started earlier. The task wasn't as bad as I thought. Your brain is wrong about how bad the task will feel almost all the time. Disguised procrastination. Now, you might be thinking, but I'm not sitting on the couch doing nothing. I'm busy all the time, so why can't I start this project? Here's why. Your brain disguises avoidance as productivity to escape guilt. Disguise number 1, perfectionism. Research shows people who are more perfectionist are bigger procrastinators. Why? Because perfectionism makes you afraid your result won't be good enough, so you never even start. Perfectionist professors actually publish fewer papers than less perfectionist colleagues, even when they work equally hard. Disguise number 2, productive procrastination. This is the sneakiest one. You're not on the couch. You're doing something. You're reorganizing your desk, researching, planning, watching YouTube videos about productivity. You get some sense of accomplishment, but the actual scary task hasn't moved an inch. Instead of writing an essay, you spend an hour color-coding notes. Instead of applying to jobs, you perfect your resume for the 5th time. Instead of starting your business, you read 10 books about starting a business. But remember, you're not avoiding the task. You're avoiding how you think the task will make you feel. And when you actually start, you realize the dread is worse than the doing. Conclusion. So now you know what the avoidance loop is, how your brain creates it, how to break it. The key is simple. Just start for 5 to 10 minutes right now. Don't aim for perfection. Don't aim for completion. Just begin and watch how your brain learns that the dread was worse than the doing. That's the neuroscience of breaking procrastination. If this helped you, please like, comment, and subscribe. What topic about the brain or human behavior would you like me to explain next?